So let me just touch base on the key terminology on the business architecture. Basically about the definition, what is architecture, about the interrelationship that have that governing the design and evolution over time. Evolution over time means continuous journey. It's never ending. Then architecture domain, talking about business, data, application, and technology, basically is the building block. Then framework basically is about as a guidance. We know that there will be a guideline how to execute the architecture. So framework basically guiding principle, how to develop the architecture. And vision is what do you want to achieve. So vision is where you validate the business strategy, you validate the vision, mission, the driver, what make key stakeholders cannot sleep at night, including your CEO. So hopefully, if you apply enterprise architecture correctly, you will be invited in the board meeting. Because why? Architects playing a critical role. Whatever the board make a decision, you need to straight away highlight the impact. That's why you need to have your tools ready, your meta model ready, your dashboard ready, because otherwise you will not earn the seat in the board members. Looking at the collection of information, concept, and of course the relationship among the other, how the information flow. And of course, information mapping. These are vocabulary that will be used in the next couple of slides on the high-level description of the informational requirement for a business. And value stream. So value stream is the end-to-end collection of the value-adding activities that resulted in the happy customer or stakeholders. So with that, let me just show you a video on the value of enterprise architecture. Why should we invest in the enterprise architecture? And for those of you who have not, but for those of you who have done EA, you can use this to fine-tune your implementation. Because I come across to the many walk of life. Some have the large EA team, some just started, but pretty much all struggling to show the value to the key stakeholders. So let's just watch this less than 2 minutes video.
Enterprise architecture is a practice that supports the evolution and change of an organization during its transformation into a digital business. It's really through the delivery of an organizational level architectural landscape that it provides the support of the delivery of real business value. And it gives a systematic and integrated view of an organization's capabilities. And that becomes the basis of how business can adapt to new trends. So by informing business strategy, business operations and IT delivery, for example, enterprise architecture can really help organizations address new trends and become more efficient in the way they adopt or react to new disruptive business models, including all of these things we hear about, like the Internet of Things and smart cities, digital customer experiences and virtual reality. We see Uber, for example, being hugely disruptive in the mobility and transport industry. And enterprise architecture can help other organizations assess their strategic capabilities and to respond to that and react to it and adapt to new trends. Enterprise architecture really helps to understand organizations in a holistic and systematic sort of way. And it's that really provides the firm foundation for evolution and change. So it's really important that business and IT leaders appreciate the significance of enterprise architecture and how it underpins business transformation, and are prepared to invest the time and resources in this key area to help push their businesses forward.
To help the organization to rationalize how to create, deliver, and capture value. This interesting word, create, deliver, and capture value, meanings low-hanging fruit, something that we can do quick win. So how can we do that? This is exactly the business model lead us into how we create, deliver, and capture value. So if you are valuable, you are not worried, because why? I'm delivering value. Your organization will know that you're delivering value. But you cannot deliver value and you start playing politics. So business model exactly can help us this. Of course, they got a few model on the business model. They got the abstract, and also they got the more detailed one. So the impact and the benefit of business model. So basically, we want to leverage business and IT leaders. So get them interested. When we're talking about business model, Business, of course, interested because they got the name there, the business team, and the IT leader also now have to deliver so-called the impact. Then after that, we also want to accelerate the strategic execution and alignment. We want to improve communication with common vocabulary between business and IT. So we are talking about the business model so that to make sure that the IT understood what the business intent or what the business actual scenario, and the business also understand what are the IT challenges. Then of course provide a common perspective, structure, understanding. Then of course highlight your relationship. So this actually is 3-element framework. Basically, if create, capture, deliver, about everything is about the value. So they tie in between the operating model, about various capability and how they have the trust base with the customer. And of course, the last part is the financial model. So financial model is to support the operation. The second one is to call it 4-box framework. So this actually is the industry knowledge. How at the end of the day, customer become the center of focus. In whatever we do in the resources, in the processes, in the profit, we need to make sure that we are serving the customer. If customers see us valuable, if not, it's very difficult for us to position our product and services. Then they got the business model cube, whereby you basically looking at all the perspective, looking at the competency, you looking at your value proposition, you're looking at your network, you're looking at your value chain, etc. So from a multiple dimension. And of course, business model canvas. I think business model canvas has been taken by storm in the last 10 years. Because of the simplicity, you put the business in one page. So it's a very, very interesting. So basically, it's a simplistic way for you to communicate about your business. Because it will be touching your customer, supplier, your channel, your revenue, your cost, your key activity, and etc. And typically, reading from right to left. It's not left to right. So let me just give you an example. This example of the retailer business model canvas on the baseline architecture. So basically on the right hand side, remember reading from right to left. So first is customer segment. Who are your target customer? I'm targeting mass market. Basically, I'm targeting everybody. So then of course got regional specialization based on the country. Then in terms of customer relationship is that I provide a personal assistant. I provide the warranty. So the customer don't need to worry. You can buy the warranty. You want to extend, we also provide that. Then the channel, we got the retail. We also provide the web-based, so-called app store. Then value proposition in the middle. So our proposition is lower price. We can customize to your needs. Then key activity, got customer analysis, supplier management, brand reputation for the key resources. Then the key partner, you got the product manufacturer that supply the product. They got national supplier, got regional supplier. And the bottom is where you got the cost and revenue stream. So the cost is where you need to have your employee salary and then how to do distribution, etc. Then revenue, or when you do a warranty, profit, and etc. So this is actually the current state. How can we bring this to the future state? Because the future state is that we want to expand our market. So this is example of the future state. So the one the highlighted in the brown one is where it has been modified in terms of the business. So this is where the enterprise architecture need to pick this up and then analyze how can we help the business to achieve the brown color one. So with that, we can understand what are the things need to enhance, how the technology can help this. So business capability basically is the particular ability or capacity that the business may possess or exchange to achieve a specific goal. So basically describe what the business does, provide an abstraction of the business, identify and describe what needs to be done by the business to support their mission. So if they don't have the capability, even you can execute the services, your services will be very, very poor. There will be many complaints. So your capability weak, you are just in the blaming games. But if your capability good, everyone happy. So this is the example on the business capability for recruitment management. For you to do a recruitment for human resource, the capability, basically the description is that the ability to solicit, qualify, and provide support for hiring new employee. So you need to understand the component here, the roles. What are the roles involved? Of course, the recruiter itself, and also the employee candidate and the hiring manager. What are the processes you need to involve? Evaluate new hire, scan their CV, conduct interview, and offer the job. Information. What are information you need? You need all the candidate CV, past job, historical, employment, academic record, and etc. And the resources, you can use all the recruitment management, HR, social media. So this is core business capability for recruitment management. So we need to know this, and from here, they got many information to support this capability. So, and also need to have the IT system. Those of you who are IT savvy, you look at this, you can see how many systems we need to have, and then how can we link this up. This is exactly where the enterprise architecture coming to deliver this capability. We are not delivering a system. We are not delivering a recruitment system. We are delivering a recruitment management capability. Recruitment system costs money, but recruitment management capability deliver value. This is where architects are needed. If you know the sweet spot to deliver this, the job is looking for you. Then this is the example on the ABC company, divided into the line of business. So operations, sales, finance, and human resource. And each one of them got multiple function underneath. So this is where you typically start as a starter, I would say, to define your business capability. Then you can also drill down into the next level, into the level 2. The level 2 means under operation, what sort of capability required? We need to have capital management, policy management, product management, and etc. For the sales, what do I need? I need account management, I need customer management. And you can see, if you can detect this, every management actually require almost interconnected, interrelated technology. And also you can see multiple division, multiple processes, how you get a connected, closed loop process. It's definitely need architecture. You can't just say, oh, I have this capability, man. I got my IT team to run this. In the past, well, 20 years ago works. Now you want to do that, you need to have a big troops to execute this complexity. That's why you need to have architecture to define this. Then you got the finance, human resource. So this is example after you do stratification. Stratification means categorization. Out of all this capability, which one is more strategic? Which one is the core? Which one is the supporting? So capability actually is the first thing first when we want to deliver the architecture. Of course, those of you who are implemented Archimate, they got all the, just not the vocabulary that I mentioned, they have the Archimate notation. Strategy also have, the capability also have the Archimate notation that we can do to do modeling. You can see the impact. So example, the leveling, level 1, human resource management, there will be level 2, recruitment management, payroll management, benefit management, performance management capability, and got level 3. So typically, we will not go beyond level 3 because beyond level 3 already go activities. So we stay at the level 3, typically level 1 and 2. And then from there, we map the architecture. What sort of business architecture to support, say, position management? What sort of data architecture that we need to support position management? How sort of application architecture? What sort of infrastructure architecture to support the position management? That is very, very key because everything are interconnected and interrelated. I mean, put it this way. If you want to get it right for the first time, do enterprise architecture. If you want to get it right for the 10th time, you do your usual way. The message is loud and clear because before you embark into this type of the executing the capability in term like executing IT project, you need to have the map. You need to know exactly the impact. I need to know the dependency. I need to know the impacted process. I need to know the impacted roles in the organization. I need to know impacted division internally, externally. I need to know the impacted application. And we cannot do it while we are doing the project because when we do a project, we are under a resource constraint and the time constraint. It is very important for us to understand this because today, digital world is moving fast and we need to have information ahead. We can also do heat mapping, basically all the traffic light symbol, green, yellow, red, and there's a purple. You can add the color in terms of capability, in terms of the measurement where we are today. That's why we also have the ability to conduct capability maturity. So these are the example, high, medium, and low. So the capability that you are very good, green, so no problem. We have a very good system supported, the user, the SOP is perfect, and etc. But they got some yellow, well, we need to have improvement here and there because totally it's not fully integrated yet. And they got the red one, basically we are totally need help on this because we don't have this capability at hand. That's why the enterprise architecture coming in handy to address this. How can we solve this red one, yellow one, and also the new one, new initiative. Let me move on into the value stream. So what is value stream? Value stream is the end-to-end collection of value-adding activities that you do to make customer happy. If you have a good value stream, unlikely your customer will complain because you are providing them exactly what they need to interact with you. So typically the value stream is like this on the retail. The customer will acquire your product, the retailer, you acquire a product from third party, you distribute it to the store, you stock up the shelf, then you sell the product, and you do support sales like warranty or help desk and etc. So what capability do you need in the acquire product? You need to have purchase management. Why? I need to acquire order the product, the quantity, and then matching with the customer demand, etc. Then I need to have transportation management. Then we also need the inventory management to stock the shelf. How do we do tagging and etc. And then sell product, how do we do payment processing, to consolidate all the payment and customer support management. Then of course they got the second level. We also need warehouse management to support the stock and the sell products. And we also need product research and also in terms of the marketing. So we need to map all this. Today you want to deliver value, these are the skills you need to master. And this is a heat mapping from that particular value stream, which are the capability and in what level are they. So from there, you can do a roadmap that the yellow one, it will turn green, and the red one turn yellow for somehow, for maybe for because it require a lot of integration and etc. So all these are become your roadmap. This is how you communicate with your key stakeholders. If you carry this type of the presentation instead of the network diagram or application diagram, well, you still need network diagram, application diagram when you talk to the IT team. But when you talk to the senior management, these are the diagram that you are showing. These are the lingo that you communicate. Value and value again. Don't talk TCP/IP, don't talk database. To them is doesn't mean anything. Solve my business pain. The rest, you want to talk about how you are going to use artificial intelligence, how you're going to use robotic, how you're going to use all type of the coolest technology. You do it if talking with the IT team. But to the business, talk business lingo. That's the message. The next one, of course, business scenario. So those of you who have taken TOGAF, you can recall this. So this is where you tie in all together. The business scenario basically about how you communicate, how you capture the problem of the business, and of course, how to do a smart business scenario. Smart means specific for S, M is for measurable, A for actionable, and R means realistic, T means time bound, by when. So we need to come up these SMART attributes when we define the business scenario. So basically, business scenario is a complete description of the business problem that require a solution. What is the benefit? We want to gain the buy-in from the key stakeholders. We help them to paint the situation and how are we going to achieve this by when, so that they can understand the problem in depth. Of course, the result is that we can create a better solution, we get better support, and we can reduce the cost. And of course, this is where typically you can use the business scenario in the phase A when we are talking with the key stakeholders to understand their requirement. And in the phase B is where we need to understand about the whole composition of the business architecture. And in the requirement is where we need to identify the requirement scenario and look at their interdependency. So the use of business capability and value stream. First, we need to identify the problem. What are the issues? Maybe like just now I mentioned, what are the driver, the concern? What are your pain points? What make you cannot sleep at night? I need to know that. Then the second one, we need to understand the environment. So business scenario is very, very handy here because we need to put everything into the context. We need to understand the value stream. We need to understand the capability so that we can identify or troubleshoot what are the root cause. Then from there, we can come out the outcome. That's why we apply the SMART, and then we identify who are the human actors, capability involved, the role, human being, and responsibility. And after that, computer actors, what system actually impacted. So this is very important. So if we can master this, then we can deliver value. Otherwise, we'll be struggling by configuration of our network, server. So these are the ways that how to earn the seat at the board meeting. So information mapping. Information map basically is about what information matter most to the business. Of course, now the bridging to this is like people talking about data scientists. That one to me is still focusing a lot on the technology. We are focusing more on how the business flow itself, the information. So that's why if you are the business architect, you will be collaborating a lot with your data architects and information architects. Maybe with the help of the data scientists to support you in terms addressing some of the technicality, the integration. But pretty much the information architect or data architect driving the whole modeling to understand the entire enterprise. So basically is that of course business information often used as a strategic resources. So we need to understand the map, how the information flow to complete a particular execution of the business. Let's take a look at this example. Basically, we want to look at how the payment itself is made against the loan, how the customer request or receive the loan, how the branch actually provide the loan. So we need to understand this, because what happens is that once we understand the flow, then we can pick it up where does this all residing, by which department, which process to do this. So this is basically analyzing all the impact. We need to better know before we embark into like 2 million or 3 million US dollar project. I need to know all this. I don't want to discover this inside the project. Unfortunately, industry practice is that in the last 30 years, we discover this while in the project. Now our world is very complex. Gartner says inside in, inside out, outside in, outside out. What does it mean? You have to see the map. And this is actually a very simple map. The actual map is thousands of lines. And how do we know that? That's why we need to have the meta model. We need to have the framework. We need to have the meta model, which is the digital structure of the enterprise. We need to define the meta model into the digital repository so that they can run for us, so that they can give the answer instantly. We need to have the architecture that are addressing this. Okay, so the impact and benefit of information mapping. I think we understand this. Helping to establish the vocabulary, articulating the strategy. We want to build a good relationship with the business to improve the communication across stakeholders. And of course, this is where the sample, in terms of the information type, the customer type, what type of perception, how stakeholders are being impacted, and what so-called the capability required, and etc. So if mapping to the TOGAF information architecture in the vision, you need to know about the context of business concept between business capability map, how they are interdependent, what information flow. In the business architecture, look at the linkages between business blueprint, and also how much effort required. What is the scope? What is our boundary? Because information is like we need to integrate from external. So we need to know this. Same thing in the application and the information system architecture and technology architecture. So we need to know all the supporting technology layers to enable the information flow. When we put into the project, and the phase E, basically opportunity and solution of the TOGAF, is where we shortlist all the gaps and how we can do a roadmap in terms of the what project to be executed, because we understand the architecture. This is the summary. If you are not a full-time business architect, if you are data architect or information architect, or you are application architect or software architect, you are technology architect or infrastructure architect or solution architect, you need to master a second architecture competency, that is business architecture. Because if you say, oh, sorry, Aaron, I am the technology architect, you want to talk about business, talk to the other team. Interestingly, talking about this, I have presented a couple of years ago in the conference. So I said that architect need to know the business. Architect need to be able to interpret the business strategy and support business strategy. And interesting, after my presentation in the seminar, there's one CIO, a prominent guy, come to me and tell me, Aaron, I like your talk. Can I schedule you meeting with my architecture lead? So in short, the email coming from him, and he said, can you meet Aaron? What else can we improve in the architecture? So after that appointment set, then I met up with him face to face in the afternoon. So I just say greeting, how are you, sir? How is things? How is busy life, etc. So I asked the first question. My first question is this: what is it in the bank strategy and the business driver that you're executing in your architecture? Do you know what is his response to me? It's not a surprise. He told me what? Aaron, you asked the wrong guy. You asked the wrong team. I'm heading the enterprise architecture. You should ask the business team. Now I know why the CIO asking me to meet up with you. Of course, after that, I explained to him the benefit of EA, etc. So he's a bit skeptic. So after that, I called back with the CIO because he asked me to meet up with him. So I asked him, how's things, sir? And then everything. So I told him about that. So of course, I said, well, he doesn't know what he doesn't know. So I told him, the CIO, we can give him a chance to educate him. What is the value of his job as an architect? Because the CIO felt that, why can't you deliver business value? So these are something that very critical. And I'll show you another one. This is also another real scenario. So the CIO sent the entire team to the class. At the time, I was teaching the class Business IT Architecture Fundamental. The CIO, the direct report, about 22 of them. So after that, I asked the CIO, said, sir, can you come on the third day after 2 p.m.? Why? Because I'm going to do a course review and I want to do a checkout. Checkout means you can listen directly from a direct report, what they have learned from this workshop. So surprisingly, I think almost everyone hinting to the boss, boss, you have been telling me for 6 years to be closer to the business, but you don't teach me how. I repeat again, yeah. Many of the direct report to the CIO said, boss, 6 years you have been telling me to be closer working with the business, but you don't teach me how to do it. And this course exactly teaching me how to do it. So again, you don't know what you don't know. So this is very, very interesting. You need to master this type of philosophical thinking that what you do must deliver value to the business. And this is also another one. Mastering the business architecture is what separates architect from the rest of other IT profession. So as you are delivering value, I've seen many of our early days of alumni that has been promoted go up to the C level. So they told me that this type of training really changed my mind. Suddenly, after I go back to the company, to the organization, I see things that I don't see before. That's what they told me. In the past, this thing like not my business. But after I understand this, I go back to the work. I can see so many opportunities that we can do, delivering value. That's why some of them can be promoted in the last span of less than 2 years to become the C level. It's amazing. I met them personally in person. And in fact, I have one C level sending his direct report to me, one of the key technical guy to the training. Then after that, of course, at one time, the guy came into the class. At the time I was teaching, so the guy told me, Aaron, what do you think about him? Then interestingly, after the training, he said, now finally I understood why my boss insisted me to attend this training. Now I can see things at a different perspective. So this is amazing when you understand the value of the mastering the business with the technology knowledge that we have. We need to deliver value. So this is where I guess it's the same thing. Technology value are discovered and shown to the stakeholders through business architecture engagement. Remember now, even you are technology architect, infrastructure architect, application architect, software architect, data architect, information architect, solution architect, if you don't master business architecture, you cannot carry the title of architects. Because the title architect bring value to the table. That's why this is very, very important. And of course, this is something also has been taken place. Watch out, this is a warning. You master this skill set, you'll be promoted quickly. You can prove it to yourself and you can see it, then you can communicate, you can craft the solution, you can plan your technology properly. That's what if you want to achieve next career in life.